Hey guys, welcome to another episode of this series called Rebuilding Your Team. And we're back to the NFL and back to New York, as I'm doing a request from our TikTok to do the New York Jets. I would have started with this team over the Giants because they have been struggling for the past decade, but they seem to be stable as head coach, and I do like Wilson at quarterback. He had some flashes last year that he could become what everyone thinks. He only needs to cut down the mistakes. He had a bad O-line and his best wide receiver was out at the end of the season as he was emerging, so we're sticking with him throughout this video. We have 2 top 10 draft picks and a good amount of cap space to improve. Again, we're doing only 2 years. All contracts are from Spotrac and stats and rankings are from PFF and Football Reference. For the 2022 season, we don't expect to be in the playoffs. That's why our plan would be a little bit conservative. We are going to improve our secondary. This is key as the D-backs of this team are one of the worst ever. And probably the worst in the NFL right now. You can't compete in a division with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and everyone with that cornerbacks and safety combo. Our second off-season goal would be protect Zach. We have the left side sorted out with Becton and Vera Tucker as young players that they are developing and looking good. Our center is covered with the second highest rated center in PFF, but the right side is not good enough. The third one will be trade Corey Davis. When the Jets signed him, he was a promise to emerge and save this team, but after a huge contract, he has not been great. And as Elijah Moore emerged as the great wide receiver he seems a waste of money, so we're unloading his contract, even if we need to retain some. The fourth goal would be get a linebacker. Our secondary was bad, but the linebacker court is worse, as we had a safety outside linebacker. We need someone allowing CJ Mosley to help there. And our final goal will be to get another wide receiver. As we trade Davis, we will need someone else next to Elijah Moore, and this free agency class is loaded at the position, so we will look into that. As I said, we need to spend in free agency, and we have the money to do so. As we enter with 47 million cap space, but with the draft picks we basically have 37 million. We're starting with one of the best guards in this class, in Washington football team Brandon Scherf. He's rated 73.6 by Pro Football Focus after playing almost 700 snaps. That makes him a top 10 guard in the league. He can play on both sides of the center, but we only need him at right, because as I said we have Vera Tucker at left guard. He's easily the best guard in the open market, and we're giving him 11 million a year and a 3.5 signing bonus for a 4-year contract. As I said, we need a new wide receiver, and out of the top wide receivers in this free agent class, Alden Robinson should be the cheapest and would likely join us. We're not going after Godwin, Davante Adams, or Mike Williams. They simply don't make sense. That's why he has a lot of upside. He was bad last season with Nagy because of his new system and Justin Fields' development, but we all know how good he can be. That's why we're giving him 13 million a year plus a 3.5 signing bonus for the next 5 years. As I said, our linebacking core sucks. No way around it. So we're going for Dallas free agent Leighton Van Der Esch. Ever since he was drafted, he was dominant behind the line and a top linebacker. Last year when Dallas defense struggled, he was out. When he's in the field, he makes defense a lot better. They did decline his 5th-year option and are expected to do due to the cap and having Parsons in that position. So we could snatch him on the cheap on a $7 million a year deal and a 2.5 signing bonus for the next 3 years. Now, as I said, we need to trade Corey Davis. We need to move on from his contract, as simple as that. That's why we're looking at him with cap space and a needing wide receiver, and that's the Atlanta Falcons. We're getting only a 3rd rounder in this year's draft, but we need to keep a little bit of his salary to balance it out. We have Robinson now and stay under the cap, and they get a 2 wide receiver 2 to help Ryan Pitts, and maybe even wide receiver 1 if Calvin Ridley decides to retire. Now we have the draft, and we have 2 top 10 picks because of Seattle's Jamal Adams trade. And remember, this is not a mock draft, it's a realistic best case scenario. So with the 4th pick, we're getting edge rusher out of Oregon, Kayvon Thibodeaux. Neal has been rising and may even be number 1. That leaves Hawkinson at 2 and Kyle Hamilton at 3. That gets us in perfect spot to get Thibodeau. Before the season started, he was a lock to be picked 1 or 2 with Spencer Rattler, but we all know how that went. So we're getting him at 4. Is a great pick, and we do need the pass rush help. For our 10th pick, we're getting LSU cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. If it was not for injury concerns, he would be a lock at the top 5 pick. So this has a great upside for us. We need secondary desperately, and he gives us that. Outside of Hamilton, he's the best defensive back in this draft. I get if many think of Matt Garner as the top cornerback because he's a safe pick, but I think Stingley has a higher ceiling and we have time for him to develop. I know many people think the Jets will trade down with this pick and get 1 first round this year later and 1 next year or many seconds. I wouldn't do it if Stingley is on the board. In day 2, we have the 35th pick to start, and we are going with another Pac-12 edge rusher in Drake Jackson. He can line up as an outside linebacker or defensive end. He's a good run stopper and great disruptor in passing plays. I mean, he's not going to get 10 plus sacks a year and probably won't be a day 1 starter for us. But I love that he can be used in different packages, positions, and personnel to distract offenses. In our second pick of the round, and last we will feature in the video, we have pick number 38. And we're taking wide receiver out of Purdue in David Bell. If you look only at highlights, he might be the best wide receiver ever. But he's a little inconsistent and is not good in contested looks. The top draft wide receivers are way better, and they will be no doubt in the first round. But if this was a regular class, he would be a first rounder. But now he looks like an early second rounder, and that's where we're getting him. I like him better on the slot, where he will start next year, but he may be even a wide receiver 4. We will keep Wilson as quarterback, Carter as a running back, and our wide receiver core will be Robinson, Moore, Bell, that he will most likely be in the slot. Our tight end will be Griffin, as he's a great blocker and good on the play action. Our O-line will have Mekhi Becton, Vera Tucker, McGovern, Sheriff, and Moses from left to right to protect us. This line is improving, and we need them to give time to sack and host for cover. Our defensive line will have Thibodeau next to Williams, Fatukasi, and Franklin Meyer rotating with Riddick. Our linebacking core will have Van Der Esch, Mosley, and Nasser Dillin. Our cornerbacks will be Stingley and Hall, with May and Davis backing them up as safeties. I like this team, but still feels under 500, especially with the Bills and Pats in the division, but we're improving. We're around 6 or 7 wins right now. As we head to the second season, we have a lot more money than in the first one, but we have a lot of places we need to spend on. The roster is young and developing, so we need time more than anything, but upgrading the roster will never hurt. The first thing we need to do is resign Mcgovern. As I said in the beginning of the video, he's one of the best centers in the league and we need him here. The second thing would be accept Williams' option. He has been so consistent since stepping on the league, so if we can get him cheap for a year, we will take it. The third one will be upgrade running back. Carter is not bad, but he's not good. He won't take us to the next level, so we will address that in the draft or even in free agents. The fourth one will be get a catch first tight end. Don't get me wrong, if he can block it's great, but we need him in the open field as a playmaker, so we're signing someone. And the last one will be spend on defense. We have money and there are a lot of options out there, and a lot of spots in our team that need improvement. As I said, the main focus of this offseason needs to be renew Mcgovern. He's getting up there in age, there is no way around it, but we need him here, and that's why we're giving him $10 million and a 2.5 signing bonus for only 2 years. He's a great center and will develop Wilson, and help our other young offensive linemen developing what they can truly be. We're taking Williams' option as he's a great defensive tackle, and he has so much value for the money at $6.5 million, so we're getting him for at least 1 year. If he can prove himself, he can add a long-term deal to stay with us, or even go to a contender as we're not quite there yet. After dealing with our guys, we're heading to the open market, where we're starting with a former Las Vegas Raiders in running back Josh Jacobs. In the 2022 season, he was rated 77.7 by Pro Football Focus, as he had 872 rush yards in 217 carries, giving him 4.1 yards per carry and 9 touchdowns. He may not be the best pass-catching back, even though he has safe hands by catching 54 of his 64 targets. He would be a great add for the team as we're paying him $8.5 million for the next 4 years. As I said, we need a tight end that can be a playmaker, so we're going for TJ Hawkinson. Yes, his PFF rating is not great at 68.1, but that is because he can't block and he was injured for a while and had COVID. He had 4 touchdowns in 583 yards in 61 completions out of 81 targets. That's an average of 9.1 yards per catch, so yes, he can be a playmaker. He will be staying with us for 5 years and $12 million plus a 2.5 signing bonus. After improving our playmakers, we need to focus on the other side of the ball, where we are getting someone at each level. Starting with defensive line, where we are getting free agent Malcolm Brown. He had his worst year ever in 2021, but he was with the Jaguars, so he deserves a pass. Before, he was dominant in both Pats and the Saints. He will be cheap at $7 million and a 1.5 signing bonus. This for a 1 year plus a club option for the second one in case he gets even better. Now, at the linebacker position, we're getting an outside linebacker in former Packers player Cedario Smith. He was out most of the 2021 season, but in the 2020, he was rated 76.7 by PFF and had 13 sacks, making him third most, while also forcing 4 fumbles, tying him for second place. We're waiting for him to recover and paying him $13.5 million for 3 years and a $3 million signing bonus, as he will likely be out of Green Bay as they rebuild. Because, let's face it, Rogers out. Our last free agent signing will be safety Bombell. He's not the best pass stopper, as he only has 1 interception back there, but he can stop plays by making a lot of tackles. With 73 solo tackles and a 74.3 PFF rating, he will make the job greatly. He's not specifically a playmaker out there, but he will get the job done. Now, as you know from the Giants video, in the second year I only dropped 1 player in the first round. And as I expect us to be in the top 10, specifically between 5 and 10, I am looking at another playmaker on offense and a blocking tight end to help us mix lineups and create play action opportunities. We are drafting Notre Dame tight end Michael Meyer. He's a Notre Dame tight end, so we know how good he will be. That's what they do, offensive line and tight end. Getting him can complement our offense in both the passing and rushing game. In our offense, we keep our quarterback, and at running back we get Josh Jacobs. The wide receiving core stays practically the same, and we add Hawkinson and Meyer to help at tight end. Our offensive line stays the same after we are able to resign Mcgovern, and we'll let our young guys develop. In defense, Jackson takes over the starting role with Kayvon on the other side of the edge. Our inside tackles will be Williams with an option and Malcolm Brown as a free agent. Our linebacking core may be now one of the best in the league with Van Der Esch, Cedario Smith, and CJ Mosley. And our secondary stays put with the only change is adding Bell to the security safety position. I really like this team. This now feels like a 9-win team that can fight for the wildcard spots. Because let's face it, the division will be Buffalo's for a while. But we do have the ability to sneak as a wildcard. Well, there you have it, guys. My 2022-2024 rebuild plan for the New York Jets. Let me know if you think this team is good enough for the playoffs, especially in the second year, or not. Hope you enjoy it, and as always, leave me suggestions of what team would you like next. See you next time.